Welcome to the Ross Patterson Revolution! Brought to you by GhostBed.com. Yay! Welcome to Ross Patterson Revolution. We got another hot Thursday. What do they call it?
What do you mean?
We used to call it Thirsty Thursdays back in the day in college.
Oh, now
But now it means something different, right?
What? Thirsty?
Yeah, Thirsty Thursday. Like Thirsty Thursday means, oh, great. Starving for
attention.
Yeah.
However you can get it.
However you can get it.
Thirst trap.
Thirst trap. Speaking of a thirst trap, but right before we went on air, we can say it. It was a private message. We won't say who the person is. How about that?
Yeah.
You guys do a show on Drinkin Broettes?
She's in the
night?
board, so I'm not going to say anything, not one thing about it. But of
course,
we did a show. Yeah, so we did a Broettes last night. And
if you're not subscribed, subscribe. It's an awesome show. We love Drinkin Broettes around here, and they're on our YouTube. I think you guys you were in different places yesterday, so it's just audio only, right?
Yeah, it's audio only, but it's good audio. It's not phone audio. Yeah. Don't worry.
Subscribe on iTunes and Spotify. One of the best in the biz. I love your show.
Thanks.
I caught the name of it this morning on the way into work, and it was
Recycled Dick Pics, which you know, and we've talked about it on our show before. Mm-hmm. Big pet peeve. I need a newspaper right next to the dick, so I know that you are sending this right now to me. And do you know what I mean? And it's not like the one that you've like lit and done. You've sent to this is your like go-to send.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
Except for your fucking bullshit where you just like put your dick through plates and
glasses. I put
glasses on it,
and
like
cigarettes.
And a cigarette and a big fake mustache over the under the nose, right?
It's funny because we talked about this on another show, and that's why I wanted to chat about it today. Like I was trying to think of the last. I don't think I've ever sent you a dick pic that wasn't comical. I believe.
To me?
Yeah.
You don't.
Like next to I think next to like a piece of birthday cake or something. Like I think that was the last thing.
You'll send me dick pics in real life if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like I will be coming around the corner, like in the office, let's say, and you will be standing there with your
and no one else knows.
And no one else knows.
They know now, but they've never seen it. And then
I don't know if Jamie's seen this, but you'll go right here
behind the desk.
Behind the desk, you'll like bend down, take a bite of my sandwich, whatever. We'll do makeup. We all know everyone wears makeup on the show, but
yeah.
You one time just pulled your pants down as you were bending down.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean.
You got a nice expose. The continental breakfast is what I was serving that morning.
Yeah.
Which is 2 eggs and a piece of sausage.
So you'll flash me? I mean, what is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Drive-by flashes, pretty much,
Drive-by flashes.
Yeah. I haven't sent a dick pic that was to a male friend of mine in a long time where it wasn't hilarious. Because it's got to be funny to me.
Yeah.
It's got to be comical. I don't know in what way a dude's dick is attractive, where it's just like, Well,
we talked about it where it's like there's time and place. Like if you're in a full-on relationship with someone,
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
If not, it's 9.5 times.
Whoa, 9.5?
9.5 times out of 10, it's aggressive and unwarranted. Do you know what I mean? 9.5 times.
9.5 is big. That's a big number, Jessie.
So 99.9.
There you go.
% of the time, it's aggressive and unwarranted.
Yeah.
So I always say lead with humor. So that was the question on the show. Was kind of like, can you kind of give guys some tips on how to flirt? Because in these quarantine times,
yes,
people are kind of flirting. They're sexting. They're like, text conversations are escalating because they're not going to see each other, whatever. So can we give some tips? And I always say lead with humor.
Yeah.
Like make it funny and make her turn it serious. Be so aggressively like joking that she has to be like, "Hey, is this real?" And then you could be like, that's your opening.
My thing is this. It is because I read that article in the New York Times the other day about this is like the height of people sending nudes and sexually graphic pictures to one another because people are stuck in quarantine. You can't date, you can't go out, Tinder and all that other shit. It's pretty much out the window for now. There's going to be a sexual revolution once this is over, but when it leads to that, like to a dick pic, it's just like, that's it at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be real sure.
Yeah. So what happened in this sitch over here? Somebody sent an unwarranted dick pic?
Of what? In our show? No, I'm not going to talk about this.
Oh, you're not?
No. But
James.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so on the show, I guess somebody had written in and said they were talking to someone and they sent a like soft in a bubble bath floating penis.
Man, that's hard to.
And she was like,
it's hard to wrap my mind around.
With like skinny white legs, like feet up on the bath.
I
was like, gosh, I would think that was a comedic dick pic, right? Like,
yeah.
My first instinct with that would be like, oh my gosh, you're hilarious, right? Because that's not anything that anybody wants.
No. If you put like maybe 8 rubber ducks around it, and it was just like, guess which one is not the duck.
Yeah,
that'd be a funny,
something
a fun
funny
little game, I guess. But
funny,
keep
it funny, keep it light.
Yeah. Otherwise, it takes too much lighting and energy and all that other stuff.
It's like, is that really gonna do it for you? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the last video I did. I think the last video I did, we sent to a friend of ours, and another friend had to shoot it because it was in slow motion. But it was my balls going up and down. And then we scored it to, I think it was Slow Motion by Juvenile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because bros will have a dick pic off, where it's just like, all right, what's the most graphic, hilarious thing you can possibly get away with? I lost that one.
Yeah,
we talked about it on Drinkin Bros. Matt won, and it's a video that I can never ever share or talk about ever.
Sure, and we don't do that, as women. Nothing even close.
The funny thing is, I will say this: it was not even involving his own dick, and that was the hilarious part about it.
It was someone else's.
I can't say, James, but he won. He is an all-timer. Matt Bass is an all-timer. Like as far as like videos go, back and forth, dick prank videos go. He's the best that's ever lived. He's the Babe Ruth of dick videos.
Yeah.
They're hilarious. So he is eternally won that, and it's one of those things where whenever I go out in public and we do live shows across the nation, I will get at least 2 people that come up to me in private and be like, "Hey man, dude, I love you. I'm a bro. What was on that video?" And I'm like, "Can't tell you. Cannot tell you."
Sworn to secrecy.
Yeah, because it was
no matter what happens in your guys' relationship.
Yeah, it was so good that it can never be beaten. And to this day, I don't know how he pulled it off. Still don't know how he pulled it off. But I laughed for 1,000 years, and we gave up. Like the competition ended on that one.
Right.
I said, I can never beat this. And as a man, that's hard to take.
Sure.
Especially as a filmmaker, as an auteur, as a genius. That is really hard for me to let go of. But I had to. Game recognizes game, and I had to walk away from this dick pic off where I was just like, that's it.
You have to know.
It was a walk-off, absolutely. Yeah. Bottom of the 9th, Game 7, World Series, walk-off homer. I can't go back.
Good for him.
Yeah. Good for him. We've now reached the end of our queue, kids, and I'm sure you guys have as well. And boy, I want to come clean about how deep I've gotten. Okay.
Yeah.
You know my love of Rock Talks. That is, I've talked about it numerous times on the show. Right. Mm-hmm. I've seen them all, but I will still watch them no matter what comes out. The one that we had not seen, because again, we were at the end of our queues now. And all of, I would say everything. Hulu, Netflix, HBO, Showtime. We're at the end.
Right.
We've reached the end. We tried to get the Yellowstone show last night on Paramount. We used to get that app, and then even that's weird. Like they'll only unlock like the new shows, but not the old ones. So now you have to buy them off of Amazon or iTunes, which we're gonna do. I was surprised at the cost. I was like, Jesus Christ, it was $24 for the first season of Yellowstone.
I know.
Netflix is like you get 800 million shows for $14.99 a month. I have to pay $25 for the first season of fucking KCOS on Yellowstone.
I mean, look,
I'm going to do it.
I know.
I'm going to do it because we're out. But to that point, I said, all right, let's Tokyo drift over into some things we haven't seen that I wanted to see.
Right.
That were towards the end of the queue that you just kept pushing off. Mm-hmm. Case in point, numero uno. Bob Dylan doc.
Yes.
HBO, directed by Martin Scorsese. It was 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Of course it was.
He does not care.
Why wouldn't it be?
Is the air on, by the way?
Because you need to put, like, every weird-ass acid-fueled conversation that anyone's ever had in a red light.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm asking if the air is on because I'm gonna get heated in this one.
Oh.
I'm going to get a little heated in this one.
In the Bob Dylan one?
Yes, dude. I was so angry about it. Yeah.
You don't even like him.
I do. Look, here's the thing. I like Bob Dylan. I respect Bob Dylan. He is one of the greatest songwriters of all time. I've seen him in concert. I've paid to go and see him in concert. Okay. I think everyone should pay respect to Bob Dylan the same way as you pay respect to the Beatles.
Okay.
You do not feel that way about the Beatles. However, I'm able to look past whatever bullshit is going on with John Lennon and say, all right, great, they changed music. So did Bob Dylan. Therefore, I wanted to get into this thing because I was like, man, we're going to get a real deep dive into Bob's life. Maybe there were some things that I'm missing and that I didn't know from the 60s and all of this shit.
Right.
Instead, they chose to focus on a traveling road show that was kind of a
disaster.
It was an absolute disaster. Yeah. But what were they billing it as? Like a circus, a speak off?
Kind of like like a vaudeville situation.
Yes. And here's why I'm angry about it is we think of hipsters today and all of this pretentious bullshit and the hypocrisy of it and what you're doing and not doing and you need to live off the earth. Exactly. And you have to be rich to do it. And you're like, all right, maybe this is new. I certainly assumed it was new.
Yeah.
That this was like a new world thing of man buns and all the other bullshit. I was very naive in thinking that because I watched that and we turned it off halfway through. And saying half is probably pretty generous.
I don't think we could handle
40 minutes, I think, is what we got.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't even think we got that far, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we got about 40 minutes in. Here's what I learned is he was rich during the 60s and during this time of turmoil and all this shit, right? And when you think of the 60s, that's what you think of, right? Civil rights movement, Vietnam, Woodstock, all this other shit. The other side of it is the guys who are always rich and then they're living this life where it's like, oh, hey, I'm traveling the country. I'm just being real. I'm trying to connect again. And it was just like, man, if you needed to travel around like that and try to connect again to the world when all of this is going on around you and protests and everywhere else, like you're just rich and bored at that point. Mm-hmm. And you're a fucking hipster. Mm-hmm. Like before the hipsters we know of today. And when I watch this of his stupid bullshit of like, yeah, I just want to find musicians to play with me and kind of, connect and hang. And no, you were just doing acid, hanging out with people who kissed your ass, who were also rich, who had nothing to do, no jobs to go to. And that's kind of what it was. You just traveled around the country doing drugs, doing nothing. Yes, you were playing with different musicians of different walks of life, but they were all rich, or they kissed your ass and they were just like, oh, shit, I got to play with Bob Dylan and this was rad. No one got paid. out of this. Remember the filmmaker? It was just like, yeah, I went bankrupt. I used all my money filming this doc of Bob Dylan, and now I've got nothing. Like, it was all just a big fuckery and a bunch of bullshit, and it is very similar to what we see out of hipsters today.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, I can't believe this was going on back then. And it was. Yeah. It was. It was so stupid to think that, I guess. I don't know what I thought. You have this romantic image of the 60s, and when you actually look back on it, there was people in the struggle that were real and were poor and were fighting for actual rights and actual change and actual life-changing events like the draft and things like that in Vietnam and everything else, right? You had all of those people.
Civil rights, human rights.
Yes.
Yeah.
You had all of those people fighting for things all over the country. And then you just have this little segment of rich people like Bob Dylan who are like, hey,
I just need to...
But they're not hippies. They're rich. And that's what hipsters are today. They're rich hippies where it's just like, dude, no one can afford to do that shit.
No.
And that's what angered me the most about it, where I was just like, oh, Bob Dylan was kind of a fucking fraud. He's a great songwriter.
Right.
And I'll live with that forever and say, hey, man. And his music was great back in the day. One of the best songwriters of all time, if not the best. But he was a fucking fraud. Right. And watching it, what I was hoping to gain was I wanted to learn a little bit more about Bob Dylan, about the times. I didn't. I learned that hipsters existed back then, and it was all kind of bullshit, and that he was just you'll never know the real guy of whoever Bob Dylan was. And I told you it reminded me of an actor that I worked with. I won't say his name on air. But they're almost identical, where it's just like, hey, man, you're rich and just kind of doing all this shit just to do it, but not in a cool way. Like, it is only in your own mind. And if you were able to see it or have somebody tell you, hey, man, what the fuck are you talking about? I think you'd probably look at it different. And that's exactly the way I looked at this. I was so pissed off about it. And why Martin Scorsese decided not to step in and cut anything. That could have been 90 minutes.
Have you seen The Last Waltz?
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't cut.
It's strange, man. Like, The Irishman could have lost a good hour out of that movie.
Yeah.
Whereas Wolf of Wall Street, I enjoyed the whole 3-hour event, and there was never a dull moment in that movie to me. But this and some other things, I'm just like, Jesus, man. Were you just sitting with the editor and you guys were just getting high, eating sandwiches? But you, I think, have always known this.
Of what?
Bob Dylan.
That he is...
Like that, I guess.
Yeah.
That was just another day at the JOB for you last night, where you were just like, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a movement that is intriguing for that reason, right? Like the beatniks, the folk singers, they're against the war, against Vietnam. They're just like traveling around, and it's a weird movement for that reason, because it's just sort of like, what are you doing?
Yeah, all of it seemed like...
They're not really fighting, so like...
We just wanted to do hardcore acid, is all it seemed like, and travel around and party.
Yeah, and it was the beginning of like acid. I mean, there were parties where literally every single person was on it. Like, it's just not really that way anymore, right? But just normal life.
Right.
Normal parties that like... It's very acceptable for them to do that, and they're exploring like just like feelings and like, you know, the existential and the da-da-da. And there's people that are like fighting in Vietnam, and everyone back here is hating them, but they're not really doing anything about it.
Yeah.
They're just sort of like sitting around, laying around on the grass and singing songs, and that's like their protest.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I've known that Bob Dylan is a good songwriter, and for his time, I don't really know what to...
He was very influential.
He is what he is. Like, I'm not like mad at him.
I like, to me, his whole thing was a fucking fraud.
But how was it a fraud? Like, he's always been that. He's just been like
an aloof guy who, it was like, to me, just traveling around the country on his own self-importance and trying to just hang out with only people that kissed his ass, really, and then just do a bunch of hardcore drugs and fuck
That
girls.
was definitely later on, yeah. But he's been at it for, like, this documentary that we saw was well way into his career. So
wasn't that far.
Pretty far. I mean, if you see pictures of, like, when he started, like, as a, like, folk singer, just, like, playing guitar with, like, Joan Baez or something like this.
Yes. A lot of that footage was colorized.
Very young. No, he was older in this one. But this was well into his career where he's just like, you know, now he's fucking bored, right? Now there's really not like a war going on. There's not really like, so these leftover hippies is kind of what they are, right? So like in the time when they were actually like fighting for something, it was something. But then when that kind of got, you know, worked itself out in some ways and they're just left over, and now they're like, let's keep it going, and people are like, it's cool, like we're good. It's like fucking people wearing pussy hats. Like they need to keep that going because that's who they are, right? That's their community. Yeah, that's how they hang out with people. That's how they talk, is like being hippies, being opposed to the war, being opposed to the man, being whatever. Yeah, and so that's what that documentary seemed to me was like, that leftover part in the middle where like you're not really fighting for anything, but that was like your whole thing. Yeah. So you have to like do something, and it's usually just like drugs and trying to do something different and like. Yeah. Either way, sucked. It was at the end of my queue. You seemed bummed out by it right now. What? Yeah, like you're just. What? I mean, you just seemed depressed by it. Depressed by what? Bob Dylan. Oh, no. Okay. It's just Say what you really want to say, Jabes. Let it all go. No, it's just a conversation that's like almost impossible to have. Why? Because like, what can you even say about? They're just so. It's so weird. They're just out of touch, people. You know. Yeah. And like to me, again, with the whole hipster shit. It's fine if you're fucking rich and you have money and you can go do shit or whatever, right? Just admit that. Like, what's the cover up for it? Who gives a shit? Right. Like, who gives a baker's fuck, you know? Today, we got a $7 sandwich, a breakfast burrito from Whole Foods, for Christ's sakes. Mm-hmm. That's a $3 sandwich in real life. Oh, that's $2. If that. $2.50. Off a truck. Guess what? There ain't no trucks around here anymore. There ain't anything. So, had to roll in Whole Foods to get a $7 sandwich. Probably a $50 coffee. Mm-hmm. What is that right there? Yeah. What kind is that? What is that? It is La Colombe. La Colombe. Big fan. Big fan of their work. Yeah, I do love it. It's got a kind of a rubber grip around the lip of it. It does. Yeah. Man, that's what. Just admit that. Just say, hey, man, what's the fucking Whole Foods? Spent $80 today on 2 things. You know, it's fine. With the hipster movement and all that shit that was going on, it was just like. The conversations that were happening around Bob Dylan, I was like, what? What the fuck? Yeah. I mean, the only part I enjoyed is when he did acid and fucking painted his face like a clown. That was great. Yeah. Just went on stage painting like a clown. That was a fun little thing. That was fun. So after that, we gave up 40 minutes in and then went to Yelawolf. Right. Yelawolf was... Here's something I can understand only because I'm in this time. So, like, with Bob Dylan, like, I wasn't there, dude. I don't know. I don't know what it was. Yelawolf, we can speak to, right? Because we know what... to Bob Dylan? Fuck it. You weren't there, though. I wasn't there, but just seeing it, it's the same. It's speculation. Yeah. No, it's not, and I'll tell you why. It's the same shit that is going on that I guess I didn't know about, right? You take the media thing. You always say it every day, the media. I don't believe in the media, or what is it? I'm not a news believer. Not a news believer, right? I was. And then we were watching a thing on the Clinton impeachment, and then we went back to CNN and all that other shit. Like, I had forgotten how slanted it was back in the 90s, and I was like, oh, shit. Why did I believe in the news? Like, I feel dumb for knowing that, and I should have. Like, same with the Bob Dylan thing. No, that's going on today. And it was clearly evident in that fucking doc that it was going on then. And it was just like, all right, yeah. Shit's been going on all these years, and there will always be problems. Not a pandemic, hopefully, but wars or, struggling for rights. And, even this little group of time
for the Me Too movement and the protests and all that other bullshit. Like there were still protests once a decade, and things are fucked up once a decade.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way back to the 60s.
Yeah.
Whereas I guess I was very naive to it, where yes, the news has been fake for a long time. Dan brought up a good point on Drinkin Bros News. Or no, we were doing an interview with somebody the other day when he was saying Walter Cronkite was the death of news back in the 60s. And when he was America's, most trusted newsman. And when Walter Cronkite got on, people listened. And he said, look, man, when he started giving his own political opinions on Vietnam, whether or not he was right or wrong,
Sure.
that was when it started.
Oh, okay.
Because you're supposed to just report the news,
Right.
not put your opinion into the news to influence other people. So, yes, I think that I've made it more complicated for myself of trying to figure out these times and history and your love of certain events and everything else. And, I've always said, dude, I bet you the 70s were rad. I bet it was amazing.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was actually living in there, I'd probably be like, weed sucks, the mustaches and all that shit were dope. The music was kind of dope, but the rest of it, who knows?
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now with the Yelawolf talk, that's a different story. Because now I don't know where to go after this, by the way, because that's it.
Right.
Besides Yellowstone, I'm looking at you, K-Cos.
I think Yellowstone will come through, unlike Yelawolf.
Wolf, yeah. Hammer the like button if you're on YouTube. We're trying to beat this shadow ban and this algorithm on YouTube, by the way, if you're watching it live. With the Yelawolf doc, it was shot really well. It was on Crackle, which Crackle was...
I've never tuned into Crackle.
Crackle
in
was
my life.
A comedy app that was supposed to be the Netflix of comedy, essentially. I have not watched it in many, many years. I think the last thing I watched it for, which was physically on my computer, not on a smart TV, was the Seinfeld Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
Yeah, oh, yeah. But
That's where it started.
Did you watch it
I did,
on Crackle?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I watched maybe 3 episodes of it, but I had to go and type it in, watch it on my computer, and I was like, oh, well, I'm not doing this. And then over the years, like, it just slowly got added to people's smart TVs. I was really surprised to see it on ours last night.
Yeah.
Like, that was part of the iTunes. I was like, Crackle is now part of iTunes?
I know.
Shit. So if you're into maybe 1 or 2 original programs and then 900 old TV series, definitely subscribe to Crackle, because
if you like Some Like It Hot with...
Yep.
What is her name? Nobody knows. Go ahead.
No way to look that up.
No way to look that up. There's Some Like It Hot.
If you liked
Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah. If you like Barney Miller and T.J. Hooker, those were 2 of the shows that were on there. You can watch all of them in their entirety on Crackle. I want to give Crackle a great shout out for that.
Quarantine is really exposing platforms for what they are.
It is, because everybody's trying to get content out there, and we're desperate for content. So I'm leafing through all this shit last night. The other one was Fantasy Island. So if you've ever missed Fantasy Island from the 70s or whenever that TV show was on,
so fun.
You can watch every episode on Crackle, and congratulations for that. For us, I follow Yelawolf in real life on Instagram and all that other shit, right? We're trying to get him on the show because he's in Nashville, and the quarantine and all this other shit has happened, obviously. I think Jared went to Kid Rock's house, which is right down the road, and we were close. Anyways, I've always loved Yelawolf. I find all of his content interesting. I love the fucking clothing line, the Slum American shit. I love the whiskey. Creek water. It's great. He is very on brand. There is no one who is more on brand than Yelawolf in this world for every single thing that he does.
And his
in life.
brand is basically just making you feel like the most uncool person in the world. That's his exact brand, right? Is you're just like, oh my God, I'm such a fucking dork.
To the point where I don't know if we talked about this on air, but like when we were trying to get Yelawolf on the show, I was like, hey, what about Yelawolf? And you were like, oh my God, I would die. And you were like, I don't think I could do the interview. And I was like, why? And you're like, I am so uncool. Like, I'm a fucking mom, dude.
I don't want to do that to him because once do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want him to be like, oh shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, is this what's happening to me? You know?
Yeah.
I need him to still, so that he can stay in the game, I need for him to still think that, like, only the hardest fucking of the hard love him.
Yeah.
Although that show in New Orleans, it was.
So I was super amped when he posted a trailer of his new doc series that was on, and I was surprised that it was on Crackle. Again, thought it was a comedy thing. It is no longer that.
No.
We watched it. I subscribed to Crackle last night. We watched it. It was shot beautifully. He is exactly
the director,
who I thought he was. He's cool.
He's
All
visually,
of his shit is cool.
Visually, he's a piece of art.
Yes.
Like the way he dresses, the way he looks, his hair, his
everything.
Tattoos, everything. Like he is.
I don't know if it's hair or
it's
or
interesting
tattooed hair.
to look at.
Yeah. The whole thing. The problem was with it, there was no introduction of, hey man, what are you doing other than just being Yelawolf in the world?
So it's called Slamerican. He sort of like he just has an intro explaining what Slamerican means to him, and then it just goes right into the show. And what did they first do?
Went to New Orleans, and they were looking at grave sites.
They went into they walked through a graveyard, but literally it was only 2 seconds, and they were like, whoa. He was there with his like band, and they're like, whoa, crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy. That's the lines.
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa, crazy. This is crazy. Whoa, this is crazy. And then they just were in a boat. And then next they were in a boat, like a swamp boat, you know, with the big fan behind it and shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, now they're in a swamp. All right, cool. And then they like link up with this random swamp guy and eat frog legs, but still no real
bashing the
dialogue.
brains in of these frogs, cutting the heads off, and then cooking them up.
No real dialogue to it.
No.
And also a lot of, which I don't know if you guys should watch it or not, but there's a lot of them just saying how crazy stuff is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
So it seemed like he was trying to be an Anthony Bourdain, I guess, in that he's just like meeting salt of the earth. It doesn't matter. He's not in a fancy restaurant. He's going to have like break bread with these people and find out about their lives. Yeah. Like it seems sort of that in that vein, but
there's no, they
but
never talk about it one time.
All he does is just go, yeah, man, this is crazy, dude. Like the whole time, everything they do, everywhere they go. Oh, man.
This is crazy,
This is crazy, dude.
Shit.
So it should be called, man, this is crazy, dude. And then I would be like, all right, I get it.
I'm in, yeah.
Man, this is crazy, dude.
I'm in.
It's a lot of telling how cool something is instead of showing.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good description, Japes.
Yeah.
The whole thing. And then Crackle's got these weird inserts of ads that are like, it sounds like maybe a World War II siren going off. So like you're jolted by the ads in the middle of the show.
Yeah, just right.
And it's like soup for the soul, whatever the fuck that is. And you're just like, oh, okay, sweet. So if you're out there and you're at the end of your queues and you're like, oh man, Crackle, should I give it a shot? No, you definitely should not. Because we're at the end of our queues and people have been sending us recommendations of shows and everything. Yeah. We have seen them all. There's only 2 that people have sent that we have not seen.
Which is
Yellowstone and Mindhunters.
Okay.
That is the only 2 things everything else I promise you we have seen already. I still cannot get into that Jason Bateman. It's not even Jason Bateman, I should say. Like, what's the name of the show on HBO?
King, it's Outsiders. Or Outsider or Outsiders.
Whatever it is, I can't get into it.
Can't get into it.
It's the boogeyman. It's about essentially about the boogeyman.
It seems like it's a boogeyman. It's very make 'em up.
Yep. And Jessie's not a make 'em up person.
Right.
Yeah. So we're getting real low here. Luckily, and I'm probably gonna keep some fingers crossed and some toes on this one. UFC says they're coming back May 9th. So please stick to that card. Just give us something. It was like the NFL draft. Please just give us one night of something.
Right.
We are all at the end here. And it's not going to get much better. California is closed, brother. So you're not making shit for a while. And I know what you're saying. Georgia's open. Great. Don't they shoot shit in Georgia? They do. You still got to have those meetings in L.A., though, scripts and or otherwise. Like I have one tomorrow. I have a call about a show tomorrow that's we're selling that is minimal crew, cast, all of that shit. That is very quick. And you don't need more than 8 people in a room for this. Mm-hmm. And just trying to figure out the date. Tomorrow is like a Zoom call with 900 people, right? I just got this email. Tomorrow is a call for that, and it's like the question is, when is it open? When can we shoot it? No one has that answer at all. And these are meetings that I'm taking now. No one has that answer in Hollywood right now. So if no one has that answer, us as the viewer, the consumer watching shit, I don't know when any of this stuff is coming back or getting better and all of it. And if I think your one saving grace, if you want to call it that, is the Trolls movie. To follow up on what we were talking about the other day about Trolls going on. What is it? Rock World Tour. What was the name of that Trolls movie? It was the sequel.
The sequel, whatever. Trolls.
Yeah. Animated movie for kids.
$20.
They were charging you $20 on video on demand.
And literally everybody saw it.
Everyone. And it made over $100 million.
But is that quarantine, though?
Well, so here's the other side to that. The theaters, this is the new report. AMC Theaters has said, we are banning all Universal films now from theatrical release. We will not be showing Universal films since they did that to us and decided to put this movie out on demand. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that means. I know the Judd Apatow movie just got the Pete Davidson Judd Apatow movie that's coming out this summer just got moved to on demand as well. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming more places will follow, so you might get new content there, but you might be paying $20 for it. And I don't know if that's good or bad, to be honest with you. It depends on who you are, but I can't even think of a new release that's going to hit before July, film-wise, in a theater. So even if all this shit does kind of go back.
Do we have a control group as far as like when they open the theaters back up in China? Like, did everyone just fucking go because they wanted to get out?
So I'm glad you asked that. No, they did not. And the numbers were horrific.
Are they scared? I mean,
yes.
I guess that is kind of a dirty. If you're scared of this shit, that's where you would not go.
Here's the weirdest thing about this too. And I'm glad you brought up the China thing. China's scared. So cinema itself has become, the box office in China has well surpassed ours. It is 70-30 over there for how much money they're making versus what the U.S. is making as far as movies inside of theaters go. And China looked at those numbers when they opened up the theaters and they were like, oh no, is this done? Like, are we fucked on this? And they own part of AMC, that Wanda.
Yeah.
They own part of it. So they have a lot to lose in this as well. And it's going to get really interesting. But new content-wise, it's going to get dry, and that's why we did this show today and said, I'm out of my queue. It is going to get dry eventually because people haven't been able to shoot anything, and sports on the other side of that is getting real desperate to come back. The NBA announced this morning, if this happens, it would be crazy. They're trying to move all of their games to Disney World and play inside of Disney World so they can keep it controlled. There's hotels there for the players. They can keep the entire league in Disney World. That's how crazy and desperate it's gotten. But if sports comes back, right?
Yeah.
That will be live original content every day, and then I'll forget about the Bob Dylan doc. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, great.
Yeah, like the Bob Dylan doc shouldn't have affected you so much, right?
But it did. You know why it affected me, though? Because I'm dumb.
I have to.
I feel dumb now. I feel like a dumb. A real dumbo, Jabes. That I just thought today's problems weren't the problems of yesteryear, you know? It was just like, oh, no, fuck. They were exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's just a different time period.
Yeah.
That's all it was. Like, but we didn't have enough footage, and I didn't know.
Sure.
But now we do. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, man, I feel real dumb. I thought he was cool, and I thought all that shit was cool. And then you look back, and you're like, what the fuck? Patty Smith?
Bro, he was cool, though.
On
like,
acid?
That shit that he
speaking
was like,
in front of audiences about nonsense?
She wasn't fucking cool. But Dylan
yes,
really...
Dylan is cool, yes.
Dylan's fucking cool. Like,
but
I think we're kind of so used to that now because they literally defined, like, people weren't doing shit like that. So you have to kind of think about that too, where like it was buttoned up. It was like, you're going to, if you're of a certain age, you're going to join the army, you're going to do this, you're staying at home. These are like the ideals of, so when you see him walking around looking exactly like Barnes Courtney, sorry Barnes, but like he's Barnesy. Yeah. Because Bob Dylan was Bob Dylan.
And he
so
said,
like,
and he said that on the show.
In a way, right?
Yeah.
They were revolutionary.
Yeah.
They walked.
So we could run.
So Barnesy could run. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so that cool fucking people. Yeah. Like there's some things that he was wearing. I mean, my God, it could have been a party in LA last week.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true.
The flower jacket, the hat, the rings, like.
Yeah.
But people weren't doing that before that. So you kind of have to give him the credit where it's due, right? I know it's not like.
I do.
I know it's not changing the fucking world or
like
changing any like policy, and the protests that he was doing wasn't like really whatever. But if we're going to talk about fashion and just being cool and music and all of that, he was definitely groundbreaking. It's so normal to us now that we're able to even fucking make fun of him.
I'm looking at it from a different perspective. Like, I can respect that he was cool and did all this shit, right? And was revolutionary in fashion and that stuff. As far as substance goes of who I thought or what was going on at the time, there really wasn't any. It's very much like the hipsters today. It's just like, but
yeah, I'll disagree with that, but like we can agree to disagree.
It's fine. It's fine, Jebs.
There was definitely stuff going on that is not going on now because of the things that they did back then.
Possibly. I mean, we're still in wars. There's still protests. People hate the government, and
Sure, but I think like we have a lot more like civil rights. I think like.
Do we?
Yeah.
We're in a lockdown right now. That is mandatory by even Elon Musk is like, hey man.
I'm not going to do it.
Did they have a pandemic back then?
I'm not going to do it.
Goddamn right they didn't.
Not going to do it.
No.
Refuse. Absolutely refuse.
Something we can't agree on is ghost beds from ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. Best in the business, Japes. What? They're the best in the business.
Are they going to make couches soon?
Who said that?
I just want everything in my house to be ghost bed material. That's
all. That would be amazing. I thought you knew something I didn't know.
No, that's just how good it is, that I just want every like surface that I sit on, lay on, anything. Mm-hmm. Could we do like a ghost bed floor of a room?
Be great. Bill Gates has got those trampoline rooms in his house.
Really?
Yeah. A whole fucking room. You open up the door and it's all trampoline and shit. Yeah. Have you ever seen the inside of his house?
Bill Gates?
It's crazy.
Is it tacky or crazy. Nice?
It is very futuristic. So.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
You go into different rooms and they'll play different backgrounds where it's just like, oh, you're in the Rocky Mountains here. And you're just like, shit. Okay. I don't know how I feel about that.
Okay.
It's cool. And I guess if you're that rich, why not?
Sure.
Like, fucking A.
Fucking A.
The good thing is you don't have to be rich to buy a ghost bed from ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. 25% off everything in the entire store there. Mattresses, sheets, pillows, adjustable bases, you name it. And as always, they have the 36-month pay-as-you-go program. No interest to go with that. So if you're in California or in New York where you're going to be quarantined all through May, which is what it looks like. I just read there was a breaking news thing that says D.C. might go to June for whatever reason. Good luck with that. You might as well sleep in comfort. Go to ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros today. Next up, we got expressvpn.com/revolution, Jabes.
This one is important.
It is real important. Everybody's trying to hack into your shit. A lot of jobs being lost. Another 3.8 million today was the job total for unemployment. 3.8 million people filed for unemployment today. There's a lot of people out of work. There's a lot of people online trying to hack into shit. I keep getting notifications of like changing passwords and all that stuff. It's expressvpn.com/revolution. Saying, hey, man, you might be compromised. And it's like, all right, cool, I'll change this.
Yeah.
I don't know what level I have to get to of password and all that shit, which is why you need a VPN running on your computer or iPhone and all your electronic devices, which is what this does, because we're at a point now where it's like 1 capital letter, 8 lowercase letters. We need 2 numbers, and then we need a symbol after that. And it's like, dude, I can never remember that it's, standing up, reverse 69, 3 exclamation marks is my password for everything, standing up, reverse 69. 3 exclamation marks. That's my password for everything. Everyone knows that.
Sure.
Now I've had to change that. And people are trying to steal your shit. Go to expressvpn.com/revolution today. $7 a month. If you sign up for a year, you get 3 months for free. Cheap as shit. It's just something that everybody has and or should have. So if you don't have it, go get it now, because, I keep getting emails. People are trying to hack into shit, and I'm grateful to have it. Next up, we got StrikeForceEnergy.com, Jabes.
Boom, 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 shaboink.
Shaboinkers. 4 amazing flavors. Grape, orange, lemon, orange. No carbs, no sugars, no quarantine 15 for you.
Get yourself out of bed, because I know that it's hard to do so.
Yeah. We need energy. Energy, Jabes.
Even if you're just cleaning the house or homeschooling or whatever, you need a little pep in that step.
Yeah, even if you're just out in the garage punching a hole through the fucking drywall, just to feel alive again.
Yeah, why did you do that?
Put a little strike force inside your body. You need it. Gyms are closed.
Yeah, why did you do that?
I just had to go out in the garage and just punch a hole through the wall just to do it. Just to feel alive inside. 10-pack, 40-pack, 750 milliliter bottle. They ship it right to your house. And all of this stuff, by the way, same with Ghost Bed. It ships out that day. They are unaffected by the quarantine. So it'll ship out that day. If you buy it, you'll get it. A lot of the shit on Amazon you're not getting right now. It's weeks, but they will. So go to StrikeForceEnergy.com, promo code REVOLUTION, 20% off. They'll ship everywhere in the entire world. Last but not least, talking about StraightRazors.com, Jabes.
Ooh, that's a clean cut. Smooth. Oh, you like it?
Oof.
Oh, that was wet.
Yeesh.
That was a wet one.
I need an umbrella after that one. That was really raining down on my head. Jabes. StraightRazors.com's got everything you need to be a real man in this life. Their straight razors are second to none, and it's for hombres only. Hombres. Real hombres. And they got normal razors, too. Stores are still sold out of razors and shaving supplies for whatever reason.
Because people just keep buying up everything because they're freaking scared.
Toilet paper and hand sanitizer, but at least with StraightRazors.com, they've slashed everything already. And with the promo code REVOLUTION, you get an extra 20% off everything on their sites. Best shaving products in the biz. I want to talk about Hillary Clinton, who just keeps popping up. What is the fucking story?
She cannot just...
She won't go
relax.
away.
Yeah,
No.
She can't just relax like she told us she was going to do. I'm just going to relax in my house. I'm just going to go
Not
for
a prayer.
walks. No, you aren't.
Not a prayer. So there's a new article out this morning that says, as Biden struggles, Hillary waits for the call. That all of this, all these appearances, all these interviews, all of her Twitter rants, everything she's just waiting for a call in case Biden is unable to finish running for the Democratic nominee.
Really?
Yeah. And it just says she continues to hover in the wings. And they're saying this, and this is something I said, I'm not sure what show. I'm not even sure what day it is anymore.
No.
So if I have repeated myself, I apologize. But his public appearances have been disasters. And again, I feel bad because it is purely dementia, nothing else. Joe Biden is a very smart guy and has served our country for a very long time. It is hard for me to make fun of Joe Biden. It really is. And I'm not going to do it.
I think it's hard for everyone is how
I've seen a lot of memes and all that other shit, and it's just like,
not too publicly, only because I think that everyone is sort of like, whether you like him or don't like him, it's kind of more sad than it is.
It is, man. And look, he was the vice president of our country for 8 years. I will support anyone who was president, vice president, whoever is our elected officials. I will support them through their time, whether or not I agree with their politics, and then move on and vote for whoever I want to fucking vote for and try to change it. And that's all we can do as Americans, right? The Joe Biden thing is sad. All these appearances are nightmares. He's stuttering. He's like me, all jacked up on Strikeforce.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Just way too much Strikeforce.
But the opposite.
After 500 plus shows, you know when I've had too much Strikeforce on this show.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Today
Sure.
might be one of those days.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But with Joe Biden, as he stumbles and as this sexual allegation, I wouldn't say case because it's not, charges haven't been filed or anything like that.
No.
I guess you would just say allegations then. As these sexual allegations from this woman continue to gain steam, maybe there is, they're going to have to go to someone else. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with this whole thing.
If they didn't do it already.
I mean, even Alyssa Milano had to come out and release a statement saying, I'm willing to listen to this woman now.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is starting to gain steam. We're in a time where you can't go around and do the talk show circuit. So therefore, she's not on it yet. I haven't really heard her side of the story out on like 60 Minutes or like a big news outlet yet, but I can promise you we will.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be some form of retribution for whatever this is. And it's who you believe and who you don't believe and all that other shit. The mom thing on CNN with the Larry King keeps popping up. All these little things keep popping up. And we're still not in, election season yet. Mm-hmm. And election season is like, we're at the convention, you know? Right. That's when you really start going for the home run stories. If you remember the Trump thing, the grab him by the pussy thing, right? That hot audio. That was in like October, I think. You know, they always call it the October surprise. That was in like the beginning of October. Is something else coming out? That is the rumor that's going around now. Mm-hmm. So I guess she's like a UFC fighter just trying to stay in shape of like, hey, in case they fail the drug test, you know, I can still fight.
Oh,
I can still fight. I can go out there. Very Stallone-ish.
Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
And she would just lose for the third
time, yeah. Third time. Look, this is Biden. This is his third time, so.
Is it?
Yeah, dude.
Of running?
Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not even sure if that's possible. Because then you would have the Bernie bros pissed of like, hey, dude.
Hey, we endorsed you, bro. Like, and now you're just like bait and switching me.
And then the other weird conspiracy theory that's going on around the Democratic Party with the primaries is states are canceling primaries. So New York State just canceled theirs. Rightfully so. Look, New York is a hot spot, and they're going through their own shit. And I totally understand it. To me, Bernie should have dropped out weeks before, not even avoided the Wisconsin thing. Turns out that not really anybody got sick from it, but whatever. With the primaries being canceled, you technically don't have the numbers once you get to the convention. So since nobody is voting, you're not getting those delegates from that states. So by the time they get to the convention, he will be short. Even though everyone else has dropped out, he will be short on votes. Mm-hmm. Could somebody come in and bitch about that? Sure. If this Tara Reid thing, this sexual allegation thing gains steam and it keeps getting worse and worse, could somebody else come out? Maybe. But for her to think that it's her right now by doing all these appearances and all this shit, like, is bananas to me. Imagine how the Bernie people would go nuts for this. Like, it would be absolute chaos.
I'd have to be on their side with this.
Same here.
Like, you can't bait and switch like that. You can't just be like, endorse. Okay. Ha.
But the Democratic Party has a right to choose whoever they want at a convention. So it would be the ultimate end-all be-all mess. And I've seen on my Facebook, I'm not a big, I don't post many political things on social media, but on my Facebook, I've seen most of my LA friends say, please, Hillary, just go away. Just stop saying things. Just get out of, like, it is over. People hate you. Move on with your life. And she won't.
No. She cannot believe that that's true.
No. And I don't think it's going to change until she dies of like, I could be in office and I could be president of the United States.
Yeah.
I don't. So all of these things you keep seeing her pop up in, and the tweets against Trump and everything else that's going on right now, like, she'll never give that up. That is going to go on until her very last breath, I have a feeling. But if something were to happen to Biden, oh my gosh, the chaos behind it would be crazy.
Oh, like what would have to happen though?
It would go to a brokered convention then if
But he's already done so many things that you would be like, oh my God.
I know.
So like, what would he have to do at this point for everyone to kind of be like, okay, I don't think this is gonna work.
Not sure. And I'm not sure. The other thing that
He's already done all the things.
Yeah. The other thing that I'm really not sure about is what you do now that you've boxed yourself in saying you're going to pick a female VP. They're going to hammer that woman with questions and say, whoever that woman is that ends up being his VP pick for Biden, hey, man, what about the Me Too movement? What about all the things you guys have said? And now you're not even going to ask your own presidential candidate whether or not it's true. Even Elizabeth Warren and them went all in on Bloomberg for, the NDAs and everything else that were signed. Like, that's going to have to flip.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, but to read that article this morning, I was like, Jesus. I was like, there's no way, right? There's no way she's getting back in there.
No.
No. There's
no
way she's getting back in there. The other thing I wanted to chat about was all the people that are fleeing New York and California right now.
Are they?
In droves. Yes, they're getting out of there. I think.
I've heard people are going to California.
No.
Because it's a nice place to quarantine.
Oh, no.
Celebs are, just saying.
Well, if you're rich, you bet.
Yeah. So they're like.
You're a rich celebrity, which the 100 of you, fine.
So they're all, I guess they're fleeing to California and posting all these things from like Airbnbs in California.
Correct.
And being like, had to get some sunshine.
Yeah. And Rose McGowan calling in yesterday.
From Mexico?
She called in from Mexico about the Tara Reade thing for Biden and said that Alyssa Milano was a hypocrite. And they're like, where are you? Cabo.
It's the one thing.
In
She's in Mexico, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the one thing I will say about her is she is definitely bipartisan.
Well, for this cause, yes, absolutely.
For the cause of yeah.
So
for most causes she takes up, she like doesn't care if you're Republican, Democrat, fucking anything.
She's off the rails, but I want to really be clear
just
on
saying,
that. But she's quarantining.
Is that
in
more?
Cabo.
I know. I'm just saying, is that more credible? In the world of like media, in the world of like the Alyssa Milanos and the people that are like Me Too, I think, as weird as it sounds,
I think you should go back and read some of her statements. They have been bonkers off the rails, Rose McGowan. But there's some things she is right on. But anyways, the New York Post had an article this morning about all the people fleeing New York and California.
Sure.
The high taxes were already there, and people were like, dude, we're at a breaking point now, and we're living in $3,500 studio apartments and shit like that now with this, and they're out of work because these stimulus checks aren't going to pay the bills for people that are living in California and New York. Most people, for a month, maybe. Most people have relaxed like mortgages and things like that. I think this was, after I read this article, this COVID-19 was their final push of like, we got to get out of here. We're all done with what's going on here. And man, I agree with it. I mean, especially if you're under New York and California, you're going to be under lockdown for a very long time. The end of May, not being able to work and pay for things, and then being stuck inside these tiny places. Like, and this article goes on to say that more and more people are looking for rural parts of the country to live in, where it's just like, hey man, I want woods and property in case this happens again. And I would have said, no, this will never happen again. That's too crazy. But now I don't really know.
Yeah.
The Chinese bat thing, people eating bats or whatever, if that is true and it wasn't built in a lab, this virus or whatever and everything else, like, yeah, dude, you're going to stop those fuckers from eating like that. That's going to continue for a long time. So it's like, who's to say there won't be another one of these things in 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, they're predicting that there is.
So yeah, all of this article makes sense to me, and it's like, to me, this isn't fear mongering or anything else. Like I get it. I totally understand that. Getting the fuck out of those places. Bert Kuntz was on Drinkin Bros a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "Look, I'm in Wyoming, and I hate it here." Jokingly, because he doesn't want anybody to move there.
Isn't that the joke?
That's the joke.
Okay.
And he's just like, nobody move here. It's awful here.
Gross. The worst.
Yeah, but he's got acres and, it's gorgeous where he lives. He's got 15, 30 acres, whatever it is. And, he's like, dude, it was $350. Said on the show, it was like, it's $350,000. It's like, it's amazing here. And I think more and more people will start to do that. And I think that's probably what you're going to see after this.
Sure.
And, the other part about it is because they said the New York Post is near bankruptcy as well, because both of those states revolve around media and, all the way up and down the coast for California. I mean, you got big tech in San Francisco and things like that. Like, because that is a lot of your business, and we don't know when that's going to return. And in particular, I was surprised to see the thing about the New York Post. Like, everybody's consuming shit online, but I guess if they're still depending upon print at this point, like, who's going out and getting that? I think a lot of their industries in LA and New York, like, it's going to be a rapid shift, and I think you're going to see a mass exodus all the way around on that. So, are your friends still in there?
In where?
LA? Most of them are? What are they doing? Have you talked to them?
Yeah, no. I mean, they're, I guess, yeah, they're in Ventura and LA. And they're doing what everybody else is fucking doing.
Ventura is different.
Ventura is different, so they're not really following rules there. I know Ojai is still having like farmers market and has never stopped because they have like had 4 deaths or something like that. Yeah, they're doing what everyone else is doing.
Okay. What about your friends in Los Angeles? Like, mine have gotten out. Like, the last of my friends were like, hey, man, I went to Nashville.
Yeah, so I only have, like...
close friends.
I guess.
I have a couple that are left still, but, yeah.
What are they doing?
They had to... And they're not working. And they had to furlough, like, their employees and all that other shit, so... Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know.
Yeah.
And the ones that are left are stuck because their companies are there, and they're just like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. But yeah, the other ones, like, actor-wise, have been like, I'm going to Nashville.
Going to Nashville, yeah. Moving. Yeah.
I get a call from one of my buddies yesterday, and he was like, yo, if you need me, I'll be in Nashville. I was like, shit. Aren't you shooting? And he's like, nah, not shooting anything, bro. I was like, when's the next thing coming back? And he goes, no idea. Yeah. No idea. So look for this to continue, this trend to continue, and look for people to start buying more things in the country. And living that life where it's just like, all right, great.
If you can. I don't know how many people are going to do that, but if you can do it.
It depends. Like, it depends on what state you're in and what city you're in. Like, there's a lot of places where you can absolutely do it, where it's just like, all right, sweet. Your commute might be a little longer to whatever job it is, but...
yeah, but people are pushing off sales of their house till June.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, if you can.
Yeah. Strange. But I think just based on the numbers, because they were like, look, more people are renting rather than purchasing homes now. So I think the renters who are renting are going to be like, peace, I'm out of here,
Yeah.
And especially the people that are easing up on rents for 3 months or whatever it is, they're going to be like, oh, I'm not going back to that place.
No.
Rent starts when? June?
Right.
Great. Now's the time to start looking elsewhere.
Right.
So we'll see. New York's the scariest, though, because everything there is hotels, theater, restaurants, media,
laundromats.
All the publishers are there, not only for newspapers, but for books. And it's like, yeesh.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. Crazy. Why don't you give a shout out? Some people on the boards here. Who was first in today?
Who was it? Ruben
Schneider.
was first.
What up? Proud of you, Rubes. He was on the NFL draft show the other night where we got super drunk and did that, and that was fun. He's a rad guy, Ruben Schneider.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know that
Have I met Ruben?
I don't know. We talked on the show, and he was a really funny guy. I want to give him a shout out. Jacob Nickel and the homies, dude, are always there. Brittany C. Stephen
Brittany
Hawkins.
in the house.
Julia. Cameron Y.
Ricka Bend.
Ricka Ben's always up in this mother. Mogwai.
Reed. What a Reed.
Cameron Y says standing up 69 is one of my faves. It's for everyone. I guess for everyone.
Is it really? It sounds like a nightmare.
It's a lot of work.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot of upper body strength. So prepare yourself for that.
It's more of like a novelty move, right?
It's seldom seen, but it's some would say it seals the deal. You know.
Sure.
Got to lean up against a wall too. You're gonna need some support.
Richard Denoff.
Michael Hando, AJ Gamble.
BDD is what they they call him in the
Big
board.
Dick Denoff, dude.
Yeah.
Dude. Come on.
Gosh, to get that nickname from
Big
way
Dick
back,
Denoff, dude.
Richard, he must have been.
Yeah. Hogfather on that guy. Chris Beerworth. What?
Delesk.
Tim, 14848. Tim, whenever I see a username like that, I think to myself, were you just hoping to get Tim? Because obviously that was probably taken the very first second that YouTube opened, and then you got stuck with a user-generated thing of like, all right, I still want to keep Tim. How many Tims are there? There's 14,848.
Daniel.
Or maybe it is a very significant number to him and his family.
It could be. I'm guessing it's not, and he probably will tell us on here. But yeah. We're
Craig
guessing.
Gillespie, Ross Cannon. We see all you guys, dude, and we appreciate it for rolls. But we're going to be here through all of this quarantine.
Chris D.
Through all of the whole shit, as long as this lasts. And we'll be coming at you right around noonish, every day. See how it goes. Maybe earlier. You were talking about possibly going at 11?
Yeah, I was thinking
about
it.
All right.
I don't know how anyone feels. You can't please everyone.
I watched
but I figure keep it more of like a morning getting ready show.
I watched Nikki Glazer on
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire
last night. She's got a show, and it's every day as well. Well, it's Monday through Thursday, and she goes at 10, which is eesh.
10 West Coast, though?
No, 10 East Coast. So
Are
it
you
goes
sure?
Positive. I was looking at her YouTube channel because she has here's the other thing, too, is like that's done. Comedy Central does that show. She puts all her videos on YouTube every day. She has the same amount of subscribers as us, and it's just like, oh, that was shocking. Because Comedy Central does it, and maybe she's fucking shadow banned too. I don't know too much about her. I know that she's everywhere right now. And cute girl. Whenever you see a cute girl in their late 30s and they're unmarried, you wonder why they're.
She's also stand-up, which is like a interesting job.
It is, but she's very successful. So she makes a lot of money, and there's a lot of dudes out there that wouldn't mind just being like, I'm not going to do anything. What do you do? Just going to tour around the country? Yeah, fuck it. I'll pack a suitcase and do that, right? Mm-hmm. However, when somebody is cute and successful and in their late 30s and they're not married, chances are there might be a problem there. Some form
issues.
of
and if there wasn't
baggage.
If there wasn't a problem, it definitely develops when you're all alone with your thoughts getting older. The problems will develop.
I watched Who Wants to Be a Millionaire last night, and she was the guest. And first of all, her charity was for birds. That's BIRDS, not the band.
What a fucking waste
of money to charity.
God, there's so many fucking things you could
do,
especially right now.
Children.
Homeless, women's fucking
inner
issues.
Cities, schools, you name it. There's
people,
a million things.
Dogs, even
birds.
I'd be okay with a dog and cat situation.
Birds, man. So she goes on and is screaming out the answer, super confident, whatever, and then she gets to like a $16,000 question or $32,000 question, and she's like, I think it's this, and I'm going to say this, and it's, might be the other one. Screams out the wrong answer, and then tries to change it. And
freaking out. She's like, I didn't mean that one. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Oh my God, I said the wrong thing.
Starts crying on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
God, okay, I guess I just need to like take this like I don't want to cry, but this is a good lesson for everyone. So they changed it because they can't fucking like.
But she starts going into her backstory about what happened to her on Dancing with the Stars and some other things, and I don't know what happened. I didn't watch any of that stuff.
I have no idea.
But starts going into her backstory of like why she's failed on these other
like something
game
going
shows?
wrong. Yeah.
Strange, right? And I was like, oh my gosh. And then it got to the phone a friend, and it was a guy she'd been on one date with, who was the phone a friend. She said on the show, I asked him out for a second date, and he stood me up. That was her phone a friend, so she could talk to him again.
Which is funny.
Yeah. But
you could kind of tell that she
there was
into him.
Yeah. And you were like, man.
And what was his name?
Air out during Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the reboot with Jimmy Kimmel.
What was his name again?
Chris Stefano?
DeStefano, which you guys know. He's on Theo and has his own podcast and stuff like that. So.
Oh, I do know who that is.
Yeah.
He's funny.
Yeah, he's kind of got like Jersey kind of accent
guy. Yeah. He's fast. I like that guy.
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah, I don't see him with her.
No, I'm sure he didn't see him with her either.
Yeah.
He has a kid. He has an ex. He has a whatever career he's trying to work on himself.
Yeah, I like him. I definitely don't see that relationship working out. But
I don't even know how two stand-ups would date each other.
You would have to be on the same touring schedule or opening up for one another.
That or just like
even
how
then,
you talk to each other. You're like always trying out fucking bits, and you never know if someone's like, if it's a bit or if they're really talking to you. Like
right. Strange. It's a weird life. Anyways.
Do you know what they call people that...
After watching that. Go ahead.
That like almost are like groupies for comedians?
No.
Chuckle fuckers. And I like it.
Man, when I was doing stand-up, that phrase was not around, and I wish it was.
Yeah.
Chuckle fuckers.
Chuckle fuckers.
Who's that chuckle fucker?
Yep.
Big fan of that. Who started that?
I don't know.
Shit. Wish that was around back in the day.
Right?
It was not.
Was not.
We'll go out and get some chuckle fuckers tonight.
There you go.
It's great. It sounds like a phrase that I would invent.
So good.
I'm pissed that I did not invent that.
I know. Wow.
God damn it. That's great. Chuckle fuckers, huh?
You
don't say.
You don't say. Who knew? Wrong business, huh?
Yeah. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. But yeah, she won $125,000 for birds last night.
Good for her.
So I hope those birds find the things that they were missing in their lives.
Yeah. I just feel like there's so many fucking birds. Like too many birds. Like what are we doing? What is the charity?
I don't know. It's for birds. So you're welcome. You're welcome for it. But
thankfully Jimmy Kimmel was making fun of her and being like, we're not even sure if it's a real charity.
Yes. Yeah. So
because what the fuck?
Strange, man. Strange. Either or, that's where we're down to. We're at the end of our cues, people.
Sorry to say.
What's going to happen? I don't know. We need some excitement going on. We need a Kanye explosion. We need something.
A Kanye explosion? Like
something, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Light your house on fire. Whatever it is, dude. Just let's do something.
Yeah.
So we can all watch it. Like, I want to see that go down, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Britney Spears burnt down her home gym like 6 months ago. Do something like that where it was just
How'd she do that?
Who fucking knows? Being Britney Spears. Again, I follow her only because she's going to die, and I want to be there the night before and be like, oh my God, I just watched her video last night on Instagram.
I know.
She's dead.
I know. And that's a sad one. It's a very Biden. Let me do Crime Corner real quick. It's not like a long one.
Oh, you got a Crime Corner?
Crime Corner. So Wisconsin men brawl after sitcom argument. Okay, punches are exchanged over the show How I Met Your Mother.
God damn it.
Do you know what I mean? And you get it, right?
I do get it, actually. I understand this one.
So a bloody fist fight between two drunken Wisconsin men was triggered by an argument about How I Met Your Mother. So police say the brawlers first attended a Green Bay Packers game. So just get a little vision of who we're like dealing with, right? Just get a quick vision of the type.
Yep.
They go to a Green Bay Packers game Sunday afternoon and drove to a bar afterwards where they continued alcohol consumption that began at Lambeau Field, right?
Okay, of course, obviously.
Sure. No,
you don't
I'm
go
just
to a
saying.
Packers game sober.
I didn't know if they so attended the game. I thought they like saw it at a bar and then went to a different bar. So they went to the game, then they went to a bar after. And after returning to their SUV, they were going to drive together, which bad idea. First of all, we should have cut it off right there, right?
Yeah.
But they decided to get in the car and then began trading blows. And the men eventually like got out of the vehicle and were like flagging down other cars. And then a sheriff that was driving by like pulled up and was like, "Hey, bros, you need help? I mean, you're flagging down cars, right?"
Yeah.
Upon approaching the duo, the deputy encountered the driver, Alan Hushka, who appeared extremely intoxicated and struggled to keep his balance.
Probably Hauschka. That's the last name. It is. Hauschka is the last name.
But it's Huschka.
Ooh, it might be Hushka, actually. The Hauschka is spelled differently.
Hushka.
I was wrong.
Who had difficulty answering the cops' questions and had abrasions on his face, one eye that was swollen nearly shut, blood on his shirt. And he claimed that his pal, Brian Haywood, which sounds way too familiar, all of these names.
That's a very white name.
Sure. Who also appeared very drunk.
Yeah.
Obviously. And had a fresh bruise on his neck, explained to police that the men began arguing about the CBS sitcom How I Met Your Mother while they were driving, and the dispute turned violent. Haywood said he threw punches. Before the car stopped, they continued the fight outside, and claiming that Haywood was claiming that he was trying to be the peacekeeper.
Okay.
So
what was the fight over specifically? Do they say what what triggered the argument of How I Met Your Mother? Like, what was it, a specific episode or the whole series, you think? Did it tell you that?
So when a cop asked Hushka if he and Haywood would have been arguing about the television show, when he asked why they would be arguing about the television show, Hushka laughed and replied, "Yes, we love that show. According to the criminal complaint, they don't offer any other further details on what the actual fight was. They were just very, very drunk. And when the cop just kept asking, what is going on? Why are you guys fighting? Like, what happened?" That's all they kept saying.
That's How I Met Your Mother. It's great. Two things come to mind with this, where you could get in a fight. Okay.
That you were also pissed, right?
Yes. I was pissed off about this show as well, so I understand it.
Sure.
Here's the hard part about How I Met Your Mother. It was a great show. And as far as like a 3-camera sitcom goes, it was really funny, and it was one of the best. Neil Patrick Harris destroyed in that show. The concept of How I Met Your Mother turned out to be a total and absolute fucking bust with the worst series finale in history next to Dexter.
So you could probably...
Or Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So that's the 1, 2, 3s. I would say sitcom-wise, it is number 1 for me personally of the worst ending of a sitcom.
Okay, yeah.
Seinfeld is in that camp as well for me, and I love Seinfeld.
But it was on brand anyway. For Seinfeld, it was on brand. I mean, you can't argue with that.
For a show called How I Met Your Mother, and then they get to the very end, and then you find out the mother was no one that we ever wanted and or thought or hoped it would be, and then...
How dare you?
Then she died. She was dead. To watch that show for 80 seasons and get that fucking ending, fuck you.
Sure, but you could probably guess, like I said, they didn't give any details about the substance of the argument. All they knew, because they were so fucking drunk. So you can probably guess it was something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
Of like, no, like I was, how dare you? That was my favorite show. Like, no, the fucking ending was sucked. Fuck you.
Yeah, I have such a hard time with that one because it is one of those shows where you're like, dude... If somebody asked me, should I watch How I Met Your Mother, I would say, yes, it's really funny. If you could just ignore the concept of How I Met Your Mother.
Sure.
And like,
go with the rest
because
of it.
all of I think Bob Saget was the voiceover in that show.
Yeah.
Who was playing the dude later on in life, and he was doing the look back every show where it was just like, and then kids, I was at a bar and this is where I bumped into your mother or whatever, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Ignore all of that and just look at it. Should have been like a Friends model instead of How I Met Your Mother, or, you had 90 years to craft an ending for that.
Sure.
Jesus Christ, man. Just give the people what they wanted. It should have been Robin and moved on with your life. Like,
so stupid. Like, just, I don't understand that, which we have had problems with. There's so many people are saying Dexter in here.
Yeah, I said Dexter, Game of Thrones.
Sopranos, whatever.
I actually like The Sopranos looking back at it.
Me too, but at the time you did not.
I hated it, yeah.
So
2 years later, I loved it.
Some would argue it's like you can't please everybody, but at least try to please most people, at least.
Here's what I can promise you. With all of my books that I talk about all the time, the Night She Cries series with St. James, right? I'm well aware how many people love it, read it, and they want a certain ending. I am giving you that ending because it would be selfish for me to say, hey, man, all these people have supported you and have become fans of whatever it was, right? Listen and read the message boards. Listen to what people say.
See what people are
go
hoping
with that.
And go with that. Just
those
go
are the people
with
that
it.
supported
This
you for
isn't your
years and years and
time
years. Yes, to be fucking artistic.
Mad Men.
Yeah, Mad Men. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This isn't your time to like make a statement and like be different.
Yeah. So
Fuck you.
Like the beginning
You're gonna ruin the whole season.
Yes, and again, we've talked about this before. My last dream on this earth is to make these into an HBO series. At the very opening chapter, because it is in a How I Met Your Mother format, there's a guy voicing back. He's looking back at his life, and it is a voiceover, right? Just at the beginning of each one, it just says, hey, man, I'm writing my book, and at the end of this, when I'm done writing about my life, I'm going to fucking blow my brains out. I can promise you with absolute certainty, at the end of this series, he's going to blow his brains out. The only thing you don't know is when, why, and how. Like, what it was that triggered this moment.
Sure.
But I am giving the fucking people what they want on this. Like, and that's what they should have done with How I Met Your Mother or Dexter and all this other shit. Like, you've plenty of time for that. Lost.
Yeah.
For Christ's sakes. Fucking 9 seasons and you're in purgatory. Like, I loved Lost. The writers got lost is what happened in that. But yeah, give the people what they want. This How I Met Your Mother argument, while they're knocking each other out, getting drunk after a Green Bay Packers game, I understand it, dude. I don't understand flagging down police officers.
I know.
Wasting their fucking time with that bullshit, but the rest
like,
of it, yeah.
But they needed help because the guy was getting beaten the shit beaten
yeah,
out of
man.
him.
Some,
Pushka and Haywood.
Yeah.
The fucking How I Met Your Mother bros from Wisconsin.
Before we get off the air, I'm going to give a shout out. I glanced down and caught a comment in the chat room here on YouTube. Subscribe. It's Drinkin Bros podcast. It encompasses all our media company shows: Ross Patterson Revolution, Drinkin Broettes, Drinkin Bros, Drinkin Bros Sports. Somebody Reed White commented, Jackson Hole is great, but it's becoming too liberal now, and that's in Wyoming. That's what happens when all these people flee California and New York. They're going somewhere, and they're going to a rural town like Nashville or someplace that's remotely you have land or you can get land, things like that, but still have a city. Jackson Hole, Nashville, Austin, that is what happens. Your liberal people from California and New York are moving there, and then
yeah, don't go to Austin.
You'll have these fucking people. We love Austin, but yeah.
But don't go there. Dumb.
Nashville.
Dumb.
Yeah, we love Nashville too. Don't go there either.
Don't go there. Dumb.
That's what happens, and you're going to get weird liberals from these states. And I will say this though, they're conformed, or they're forced to conform with what's going on there. Yeah. We were shooting a video for Black Rifle Coffee down there. They have this ranch that's amazing. I don't know how many acres it is, but there's a stream and all this other shit, right? Where they shoot all their videos and content. We were out firing off machine guns one day, and there was like neighbors like beyond the hill that were liberals, and they were just like, "Oh, do you know when you guys are gonna stop shooting the guns?" It was like,
never,
no,
lady,
probably never.
Never.
And we're gonna get drunk most of this night and just keep firing away. So,
do you know when you're gonna stop
shooting the guns? And it was just like, no, because you can do that here, and it's probably not the place for you. But it is what it is. So expect that, yes. And then some of these lines will change. Atlanta, too, is the same way.
Right.
Fuck. Nothing you can do.
The Hawk, Stephen Hawk, has won the compliment. The compliment competition.
Okay. Great. The Hawk.
And just say.
All right.
You know, Richard, Craig, the Hawk.
Yeah.
Very complimentary, and I think you win.
All right.
It's usually Craig or Richard.
Okay.
But the Hawk won this time.
I get it. Subscribe to Drinkin Bros podcast on YouTube. Again, it encompasses all of our shows. And then go to iTunes and rate Ross Patterson Revolution a 5. We're almost at 1,000 reviews on there. Just leave a quick one-liner. We appreciate you tuning in every day, and we'll be with you through all of this shit as long as it goes for all the states.
We're in this together.
No, I'm not going to say that.
I'm just joking.
I'm not going to say that, but I'll say
joking.
this.
Our lives are totally different.
We're in it with you guys, the listeners, so fuck it. For Jessie Wiseman, a.k.a. The Jables, I'm Ross Patterson. This is The Revolution. We will be back in about an hour on this channel live doing Drinkin Bros fake news. Got a hot show for you today. Good afternoon, and we'll see you soon, everybody.